KKR's top order is a three-headed monster from the island of misfit toys. You have three men who are all really quite old. None are near their prime, or maybe one's like at the back end. None really complement each other all that well. In fact, there's two left-handers together. It's like a thought experiment you come up with 17 beers into the night. It's KKR yelling into the abyss, hoping that someone will call back to them. It shouldn't be working, but it is somehow keeping them in games despite its own chaotic nature. There's lots of cool stuff, plus often I'm talking about behind the scenes things. But there's also ad-free content, early podcast episodes, and you can stay updated with my emailer as well. Thank you to all the incredible supporters who have made our channel thrive. The first player I want to talk about is Sunil Narine, a cricketer who can make so many runs in a short period of time, and then so few runs in like months and months on end. Today, when he was dismissed, he seemed honestly confused about whether he had hit the ball or not. He felt like he was a tail ender, which I suppose he is. And within the space of one delivery, he can play the greatest shot you've ever seen, or perhaps a shot that should be, I don't know, burnt alive. And let's have a look at his form, shall we? He hadn't scored more than 38 runs in a match since he last IPL. In game 1 of this IPL, he smashes 44 from 26. What do you do with a player with that kind of a form line? Is it just that he likes purple that much? Or is this a man who prepares so fastidiously for one particular tournament that in the rest of T20 just doesn't have the mental energy to be ready to bat? Of course, since he made that one big score, he's made 7 runs in his 2 knocks. And 6 of those were from one perfectly timed yet slightly off balance swipe from Pat Cummins. So what batter is even the real Narine? No one knows, least of all himself. And so we know he'll just keep swinging until knocking himself off his own feet. And KKR have to perform the same delicate equation that they always have to do. When he's making runs, that's fine. That's easy. Anyone can manage him when he's making runs. When Sunil Narine is not making runs, what on earth do you do with him? Is anything a bonus? Is it worth moving him down the order where sometimes he actually makes even fewer? Is there any point in him batting at number 7 or number 8 anymore, especially in a lineup like this? So you either use him at the top or you don't use him at all. But you are also giving the opposition a simple wicket quite a bit when he's not working. What to do with Sunil Narine is one of cricket's most unknowable riddles. And then we get to Quinton de Kock. He's been like a weird player in the IPL because he's been there forever. And he isn't an anchor, but he's also not a tearaway. He's like a slight plus. In fact, if you look at true metrics, he's just about above par on average, and he's a little bit further ahead on strike rate. But maybe the best way of explaining him is he's a par scorer, but slightly quicker than normal. He's made consistent runs at a fairly good rate all the way through without being exceptional at anything. You add in his keeping, and this is without doubt a positive player even for an international. But something happened last season. Someone forgot to invite him to the modern IPL. A few years back, he was striking at over 140. In the 2024 edition, it was 134. And he's around that again now, even with one big knock already. And he didn't make many runs last year. And don't let his baby face fool you. He should be nearing the end of his prime now. He's 32. So now he doesn't get to work on his game as much. So when he enters the IPL, he might not be in as great nick as he normally would be. And none of this means that you chuck him on the wood chipper. But he's not the fast scorer he has been. And he's never been that fast a scorer. And the world has changed around him. So I think de Kock and Narine are a little bit confusing. I think I'll give them that. I mean, Narine's batting is probably beyond that. But at the very least, you understand the confusing nature of it. What on earth do you do with Ajinka Rahane, who the last time he played for KKR made negative runs? We actually were taking runs off his tally by the end of the year. By our metrics, he has one of the worst records ever by an opening batter when it comes to Zulu stats. It just does not look good at all, no matter how you slice his career. But that's okay, because he's not opening now. But he kind of is opening, right? Because if you are batting number 3 behind Sunil Narine, you're like an opener plus. Like, you can't say you're not an opener because sometimes you're going to be in incredibly early. So he's never really worked as an opener, and he's kind of opening now. But let's be honest, Rahane's career is a lot more tortured and confusing than that, especially when you're looking at the IPL. Outside of a few years where he was a decent anchor, most of his career he's either been slow or runless, sometimes both at the same time. And then in 2023, when it looked like his career was completely over, a new version appeared, averaging more than 30, but at an incredible strike rate of 172. The following year, he backed that up by averaging 20 with a strike rate of 123 in the fastest scoring season the IPL had ever seen. What is the real Rahane? Because then he's gone back to the level below, batting in the smat, where he's had incredible numbers again. But KKR have gone all in on Ajinkya Rahane. They've not only decided that he's number 3, but he's basically also the opener at the same time. He's also their captain. But you are really hiring a person who has had one explosive season in 16 years and who had his last decent anchor year before COVID. Let's be honest, there is no way of getting around this. This is one of the weirdest combinations of players we have ever seen at the top order in the IPL. It's a plus whacker who has slowed down just at the end of his prime, an aging anchor who whacked for like 1 year like a madman and made it work, and perhaps the strangest batting talent that has ever existed, if you can even call Sunil Narine a batting talent. It means that KKR is taking 3 gambles in 3 spots. And they're not like 3 random spots, are they? These happen to be the most important spots in any T20 side. It shouldn't work. And even though they've got a 50-50 record, you could argue that it kind of isn't. But weirdly, it hasn't been the top 3 that's causing the problems. Like if you look at the first match, QDK failed, but Sunil Narine and Rahane went nuts. The real issue was that no one else did anything as they pushed hard as a team to make it to 230 and ended with 174. What about the following game, where they turned their trio of weird into a foursome by adding Moeen Ali to it? He scored 5 runs from 12 deliveries. But it didn't matter, as QDK at the other end smashed 97 from 61 to chase the small total very, very easily, while Rahane knocked a couple around for a while there, and Narine didn't even bat. In the following match, it completely fell down, and they were 2 for 2 and then 25 for 3 on what really looked like a flat wicket. And probably was, a very flat wicket. They somehow managed to be dismissed for 116. And then in their latest match, the 2 openers failed again. But Rahane played a strange yet important innings that was full of only dots or sixes. But the middle order came in and did their job very well to make sure that the total went well beyond anything that Sunrisers could even dream of on this wicket. So at the moment, let's be honest, the reviews are mixed. But you cannot argue with the fact that this is a very strange top 3. It's as if someone was picking this side by random on Cricket Captain after they'd taken ecstasy. And sometimes teams actually take a chance in their top 3, like RCB have with Devdutt Padikkal. Or maybe 2, as RCB have with Phil Salt. But you usually have a banker, someone who you think even if everything is a bit weird, you can make it work. Sure, you can Tripathi, but knowing that you have a Gaikwad. Do you care to Jake Fraser McGurk? Then ensure that you have a Faf. There are very rarely perfect top 3s, right? But what KKR is doing is hoping these 3 older players all regain form, or sometimes just maybe manufacture form, all at the same time to somehow combine a magical trio that can save them from the unfortunate narrative leap that Shreyas Iyer has taken. But this is not a team set up to be top order dependent, right? Ramandeep Singh or Moeen Ali was going to come in at number 9 in this game. They are here for the whack. They like to fully use their order in a way that most teams would feel very nervous about. And maybe this is an ideal side to take 3 separate chances at the top of the order. KKR are the kings of the middle, whether bowling or batting. So does the crazy top order matter as much as it would for other teams? Maybe all they need is the odd moment of anything from their top 3 or their fast bowlers as they ride their hitters and Varun Chakravarti to the promised land. But if you do look at the entire history of T20 cricket, generally the top 3 is very important if you want to win a title. And at the moment, this has a weird combination in that it looks really goofy on paper and it looks just as goofy in real life. Like, how long is it before KKR think to themselves, this isn't actually failing, but it kind of feels like it should fail and we just need to make a change. But I, for one, will be upset if KKR decide to end this beautiful yet hideous experiment.
It took God and the demon to build international cricket, but don't tell Johnny Bairstow. 1882, Australia had played 1 test in England against the god W.G. Grace, and they sucked. So they were playing him again, and it was a tough wicket. But England was in front, so Australia was desperate for a 3rd innings lead. At number 8 was young all-rounder Sammy Jones. After a routine single, he walks down to do some gardening on the pitch. Grace whips off the bails and appeals. The ball wasn't dead, Jones was run out. The Australians were furious. In fact, some of the English players were also furious. But what Grace said went, and the umpires had already given it. Next in was Fred Spofforth. He was known as the Demon Fast Bowler. He was furious, and he let England know exactly what was coming next, which was maiden. There's 12 maidens. I can't count them all. England only needed 85 to win. W.G. Grace made 32. England only 77. That was the test where the Ashes began. Buy my book, Overthrowing Cricket's Empire, on Amazon today.